All right, well, how about that? I think we're live. I think we're good. So folks, as we get started here, it might be a little harder to hear in the back. I would encourage you to come closer to the front just because of the way the sound system is. You do you, whatever works is fine, but my encouragement would be, seems like people are saying it's a little easier to hear with the way the speakers are set up if you're a little bit closer. So you don't have to come down to the splash zone, but you know, a little bit closer, yeah. But that's up to you. So guys, thank you so much for letting me be here today with you to learn. This is a session called Hipster Google. We're going to be diving into that here in just a moment. Before we do, though, I want to do just a little bit of housekeeping to make sure everybody can follow along and participate. Now, I know it's a big room, a lot of folks, a little harder to participate, but I still want you to be able to do as much as you can. So the first thing I'm going to note is we have a link up on the screen here to a document that has everything we're going to be exploring in the session. If you can't see that real well, I can jump up to a little bit bigger version of it. There you go. bit.ly/curts-hipster. That's going to get you to a Google document that has all of the resources in there that we will pull from in the session. We're not going to get through everything in that document. There's just way too many things. I'm going to pick and choose some of my favorites out of that, but that link will get you to this document here. And so if you're winding up inside of that document, you are in the right place. Now, while you're doing that, I'm going to give you just a couple of little instructional pieces about making the most of that. So first of all, when you do get in that document, at the very top, you're going to find all of my contact info. So if you want to stay in touch with me in the future, that's all there at the top. My blog, I run a website called controlaltachieve.com. That's where you're going to find everything I share, all my training videos, all my templates, all my projects, all my updates, everything there in one place. There's also my email, my socials, my YouTube. I do an email newsletter you can sign up for, a Facebook group, an email group. The point is, connect however works best for you. I just would love to keep learning with you after this is over. So again, at the top of that document, bit.ly/curts-hipster, you'll find all of my contact information. Next up, as you keep scrolling down, at the very bottom of my presenter info, I have a link to all of my USET sessions. So I'm doing quite a number of sessions here this year. If you want to see what else I'm doing, that link will take you to a blog post with all of those sessions. As you can see, I still have one coming up here after this, the AI Toolbox, and I've got 4 more tomorrow. And we've got the board game meetup tonight. I'll be hosting that. Please join us for that as well. But with all these other ones, if there's a session that you can't get to, I have included the session resource link for all of those as well. So would definitely encourage you to take advantage of that. And then the last thing I'm going to mention with this document is right below my presenter info is a sharing document. I do this with every session I do, whether it's a small group or a giant room. Basically, this is a link to a document that is editable. You can type in this. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a suggestion, you can throw it in that document, and I will periodically peek into there to see if there's something for us to chat about, for a question for me to answer, or whatever the case might be. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and talk about what is this session. What is Hipster Google? And I realize I did not introduce myself, so I will say again, hi, my name is Eric. I'm an educator from Ohio, and I'm so happy to be with you guys here today. And I always got to give a shout out to the grandkids as well. All right, so what is this session about? So this basically deals with lesser known Google tools. Years and years ago, when the term hipster was becoming a little bit better known, one of the things that it typically meant was somebody who maybe felt they were kind of cool because they knew of something that other people didn't know about. A lot of times it was music. Like if I went up to somebody and said, "What's your favorite band?" Their comment would be, "Well, you've probably never heard of them, but," that might be a bit of a hipster thing to say. Now, I am in no way saying that in a negative sense. I would probably consider myself a bit of a hipster, because if you ask me the same question, I might rattle off bands that you've not heard of, so I get it. I totally do get that. The point was, I thought, this is a neat idea. What if we applied this to Google? Because there's a lot of things about Google everybody knows about. Everybody knows about Gmail, and everybody knows about Google Drive and stuff like that. But there are so many Google features and tools that you maybe never have heard of. Those are hipster Google tools. At least that's what I started calling them. And so years ago, that's where this session came from. I think initially I had like 25 tools or something. Now there's like 70 or 80 in this list. It just grows and grows and grows because Google really encourages innovation. They encourage their people to try wacky things and make stuff and see what works. And a lot of these are things that are very valuable in the educational world as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through as many as we can in the time we have together. We're going to look at search tools, map tools, creative tools, music tools, communication, games, miscellaneous. And I'm going to pick a couple favorites out of each to demonstrate. Others I might just mention briefly. If there's one you really want me to talk about, though, put it in the sharing document. If you go down through our list and you're seeing a tool that you're like, I really hope he talks about blah, blah, blah. If you see one in here that you really hope we're going to talk about today, please just in the sharing document, drop it in there. Totally fine. Would love for you to do that. That way I'll know when I get to that one not to just skip over it, but to spend a little more time. I think that's it. Almost it. How can this be a hipster Google session if I'm not wearing my hipster Google glasses? I mean, come on. You have to have glasses that are not prescription, that just have lenses for no good reason. And, hold on. I got to have my slouchy hat. There we go. Now I think we're ready for hipster Google. Yes. Now we're ready. Now we're ready to do this. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive on in. So first up, we've got search tools. All right, so we all know about Google search, of course. Yes, we know about Google search, but what about other search tools that are maybe lesser known? One of the first ones, honestly, this is one of the oldest ones. I've had this in here for so long, but it still seems to be one people haven't heard a lot about, and that's Ngram Viewer. Let's head on over to the site, and all of these are linked in. I would encourage you, try them out. Try out everything we're going through here today. Click on the links and try those out. Let me pop over to the site. There we go, Ngram Viewer. So if you're not familiar with this site, it's from Google Books. Appropriate with so many folks from the library area here today as well. Google Books is Google's project to basically scan every book that was ever written, to get them all scanned in and then build things on top of that. Well, this is one of them. Basically, this is a search engine for Google Books that allows you to compare phrases or words over time. So basically what you can do here is you can put in words or phrases separated by commas, and then you can pick the years, you can pick the corpus, whether it's English books or British books or French books, whatever, and then it will generate a graph that shows you the relative frequency of how those terms were used in writings over time. Now, let's say I try something like this. I'm going to put in 3 terms that are all for the same thing, and that is 3 different words for World War I. So it was at one time, it was called the Great War. Whoops, got to click in the right box, that would help. The Great War, that was one of the names. It was also called the World War, and it was also called World War I. All 3 of those were the same name for World War I. Well, let's go ahead and search. I'll do case insensitive. I don't mind if it's upper or lower case. And let's see, have those been used differently over time? Well, yes, they have. Not much before 1900, so I can trim this up. You can actually go all the way back to 1500 if you want, but I'll just do 1900 to the present. And take a look. This tells an interesting story, doesn't it? And this is where the learning comes in. It's not the fact that it made a graph. That's cool. The learning is the questions. Here's where you say to the students, why? Why is that up here? Why does it drop? Why is there a peak? Why is there a valley? It's about content in context. It's trying to understand what was happening in the world at that time so we have a better understanding. So basically, the blue line is the Great War. At first, the Great War was the most common phrase being used. But as we got closer to the 1920s, the World War became a more common phrase. So it went from being a Great War to a World War. And it stayed that way for a long time until late 1930s when that suddenly dropped and out of nowhere comes World War I. And now that has stayed the most common of the three terms ever since. Well, obviously we know why, because World War II, right? Yeah, exactly, But again, this is something our students may not realize right away, and we can talk about that. Why? Why has this gone up or down? So try it out. Throw in some terms, see if you notice some interesting graphs that come from that. That is Google Books in Gram Viewer. Some other neat search tools, we won't go through all of these. The Google Scholar tool, I love that, it's fantastic. I think most people are a little more familiar with it. If not, it is the search tool that lets you not search the web, but search specifically scholarly articles, peer-reviewed articles, papers. So if you're writing a paper, if your students are writing a paper, this can be helpful to find those items. Next up, instant search cards. So these have been around forever, but they're adding new ones all the time. What I mean is, if you search for something like the word timer, well, if I search for the word timer, I definitely get a bunch of websites about timers, but I also get a timer, a usable, actual timer that I can use. I can come in and say, oh, hey guys, we need to do this activity for 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and start, and boom. I do this all the time when I'm doing an activity with the group and we need them to work on something for a little bit of time, boom. I can pull up a timer very quickly. Now, Google has loads of these. I'm sure you guys have some that you have used. Anybody want to give a shout out to a search term that you use that gives you an interactive tool? The dice, yes, the dice one, yeah. And it got better. It used to be when you typed in roll a die, you only got a single die. Now you get all the polyhedral dice. And so you could use this tonight at game night if you want, depending upon what we're playing here. But basically we can roll as many dice as we want. Or maybe it's a math thing. Here, let's take some of these out and we'll start over again. Maybe I'm doing a math lesson and we're just doing probability. And I just need to be able to generate some random data that we're going to be using. So that's a great one. Any other ones you guys love? The metronome, yes, that's a great one. Metronome, oops, there we go. And so this will give us a metronome. Turn that up a little bit. There we go. And of course we can speed it up or slow it down. Love it, fantastic. Now there's a bunch of these. I'm sure you could add more. Feel free to throw them in the sharing document if you've got some suggestions there. I have put some of these together in some blog posts, so feel free to check out these blog posts where you can see a big list of some of my favorites, from flipping a coin, rolling a die, defining a word. We've got the timer, the calculator, unit conversions, area, volume, graphing equations, animal sounds, yes, even that. We've got things like translation, on and on and on. One of them that I've really enjoyed recently, if you guys haven't played with this, I do not have it in my blog post. It's too recent. I need to do a new blog post. It's Emoji Kitchen. If you type in Emoji Kitchen, you can then click on Get Cookin', and what it does is it allows you to mash up two emojis together. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it a little bit better there. So basically, you can just hit randomize if you want, and it will just randomize two emojis and then mash them up together. Or you can say, okay, I don't want to randomize it. Instead, I just want to randomize one of them. Or I want to clear them and I want to pick my own. Maybe I love turtles, you know, I could pick turtles and then I could say, well, let's randomize off the turtle. Turtle bat, that's great. Or I want to pick a turtle and a pumpkin. I want to mix them together or something. And so you could mix up your own, and this could be something where the students then use that as a writing prompt. Maybe that's what they need to write their story about or their poem. Notice there's a copy button below the mashed up emoji. Click on the copy button, pop over to our sharing document here, and I'll paste that in. There he is. Let me shrink him up so he doesn't take up too much room, but there he is. And so now I could drop that in there and I would be able to, whoops, let me push this down so we have more room here. I think this was from the last session. Yep, that was from the last session I did. We'll just give a little more space for you guys to type up here. Somebody said Google Lens. Absolutely. Landlines, happy to do so. Number generator is another good one. Yeah, we can do random number generation as well from that. That's fantastic. But check out Emoji Kitchen if you haven't and see what you can mash up there as well. Awesome. Thanks for suggesting the random number one. Yeah, if we do a random number generator, we can pick a high number and a low number and then generate, and it will generate something randomly within that. Good stuff. All right, well, let's keep on moving. Again, we will run out of time before we run out of tools. That's going to happen. Don't worry about that, but let's see if we can get as many in as we can. I think it's worth mentioning things like reverse image search and Google Lens, these type of tools. Somebody had mentioned Google Lens specifically. So basically, these are tools where Google can take an image and then figure out what it is an image of. So reverse image search does this, and so does Google Lens on its own. Actually, reverse image search uses Google Lens. And what I mean by that is this. Let's say I go out to Google Images. If I go out to Google Images, normally I'm coming here because I want to find pictures of something like, oh, give me pictures of a cat. But what if it's the other direction? What if I have a picture, but I don't know what it's a picture of? I want to know, is it really what it claims to be? So for example, here's an image we're going to use. This is an image that makes its rounds on social media every now and then. It's supposedly that there's been a bad hurricane down in New Orleans, for example, and the water has flooded into the city so bad that sharks have come swimming in, and now there's this guy driving in a car and there's a shark swimming next to them. This will show up on social media and news and stuff like that. Is that a real picture? Did that really happen? Well, if I go to something like Google Images, I can click on the search by image button. That's the reverse image. So instead of putting in text and getting an image, I'm going to put in an image and hopefully find out what it is. So I can click on search by image. I can say I want to upload the file. Let's come here and grab our shark. And once it looks at it, it's now finding things online that relate to that. And right away, here we go. A sucker is born every minute. Hurricane Irma fake shark, the freeway shark. I can now go in and click on any of these articles and read about it and go, no, that's not true. That didn't really happen. This can be a piece, not the whole, but a piece of evaluating the authenticity of information. It's such an important skill for our students, for us, for everybody to have. And so reverse image search with Google Lens is a great way to do that. Now, it turns out you can do it right through there, or you can just use Google Lens itself. So Google Lens exists in a number of formats. Google Lens is an app you can install on your phone. It's built into Google Photos. So if you're on your phone, take a picture with Google Photos, click the little Google Lens icon, and you can just point your phone at anything. and it will tell you what that thing is. So if you're going for a hike and you're like, found this cool, group of mushrooms growing. Can I eat those? I don't know if I would still trust it at that point if I'd go that far. Maybe it's like, oh, here's a cool flower. I don't know what this flower is. Point Google Lens at it and it'll tell you all about that. It also works with text. I can point it at images. It can read the text for me. It can translate the text for me as well. It also works in your web browser. If I was, let me see if I can pull up a quick example here for you guys. If I was simply on my blog here and I come across that same shark photo, I can just right-click on a picture and say, search with Google. Let me see if I can find it. Search image with Google. And there we go. It's opening Google Lens. I can now say I want to look for that picture. And guess what? Hopefully, oh no, it didn't find one on that example. Well, I picked a bad example there. But that will allow me to do a Google Lens search right from a right-click menu as well. So I love this tool. It is so handy, wonderful tool to help us understand about the images we come across in everyday life. All right, other cool things. Google Trends. I'll visit this really quick just to say it's an awesome site if you want to see what is currently trending, but not just here in the US. You can also say in other countries if you want to see what's currently trending in other countries. But what I really like is the Explore option. This allows you to type in any topic and see over the last 20 years, how have Google searches changed related to that item? Is it something people are more interested in now? Were they less interested in it in the past? Or whatever the case might be. So we can throw in any kind of query here. I'm just going to do a fun one here. I'm going to put in Roman numerals. And when I search for Roman numerals, let's say we go back not 12 months, but 20 years. Let's look at 20 years of searching for the phrase Roman numerals. What a weird graph. I would have thought maybe a little bit of an increase or decrease over time, but every single year in February, there is a spike in the search for Roman numerals. Why on earth would that be? The Super Bowl, of course, yes. People are going, what do those letters stand for? And so, again, if you're studying something in class, run it through here, have a class discussion about how it has changed over time, or compare different countries, different states to see differences there. All right, well, we gotta finish up search because there's way more to look at. So other things I would say that are good, stuff like Be Internet Awesome. This is a great free curriculum to teach digital skills to students, including how to search. That's why I put it in this category. How to search, how to evaluate what you find online. But it's more than that. It's also a curriculum to teach about being safe online, being kind online, all those sort of things as well. Google Dictionary, this is a nice extension, totally free. Basically, all you do is double-click on any word on a web page, and it pops up a pronunciation and definition of that word. So if a student's reading along and they come across a word they don't know, they can just double-click on it, boom, pops up the definition and the pronunciation, and it can help them move on. Art Palette, this is a really neat search tool. It's not searching by text, it's searching by color. You pick the colors you want to search by, and it searches Google Arts and Culture and finds paintings, sculptures, fabrics, drawings, things that match the palette you chose. What a neat way to explore the use of colors. So many great ones. Socratic allows students to get homework help. It's kind of like Google Lens for homework. It's an app from Google where you point your camera at your homework. It takes a picture of it, and then it finds YouTube videos that help teach that content. It finds websites that explain that information. Tenor is a Google site for finding animated GIFs if you're looking for that perfect GIF for your presentation. VR and AR models, this one's really neat. Only works on phones. This is a phone thing. If you search for animals, planets, artifacts, elements, all kinds of stuff like that, you can get 3D models of those on your phone, and then you can point your phone at your environment, and it will put that tiger in your classroom. It'll put the ISS up in your room. It'll put those things through AR in your environment, and you can let the students get up close and personal to these 3D models. Really neat. But again, phones, that's a mobile search tool. And on and on and on. Fact check tools, great site from Google to get verified, fact-checked websites on any particular topic you're interested in, and on and on and on. Okay, again, that's a lot. There's so much there, but we've got lots more categories to look at. So we're gonna keep moving, but I'm gonna peek into our Q&A doc. Did anything else pop up in here? Let's see. We will talk about landlines in this next section. I don't see anything else that has popped up new, so I think we're okay. Let's keep on going. So let's talk about map tools. Now the first one I've got here, you're gonna say, Eric, Google Earth? That's not hipster. Everybody knows about Google Earth. You're right, but what I want to show off are some of the lesser known features inside of Google Earth. So I've got Google Earth pulled up over here, and yeah, it's fantastic for, searching anywhere on the globe, getting up close and personal with things, helping students see what life looks like in a different country or a different biome or whatever the case might be. But one of the hidden features, I wish it was easier to find, is down in the layers section. If you go down to layers, there's a section in there, a switch called time lapse. So I'm going to turn on the time lapse option, and basically what's going to happen now is Google is going to not just show us how things look today, it's going to pull up the last 40 years of satellite imagery. Google has satellite imagery going back to 1984. And basically, we can go anywhere on the globe and we can watch the world change. So let's say I want to go to Las Vegas. So let's fly on into Las Vegas. And it will take a little bit of time just because it's pulling in so much data. So it'll be a little blurry at first. But once it gets kind of settled in here, let's back up just a tad. Look at the date at the top. That's 2022. Here's 1984. Look how small Vegas is. And then just watch as it grows year by year by year by year as it expands out. We could even go into 3D mode if that's easier to see the expansion as well. So the point is, whether we're watching a glacier recede or a river change course or a city grow, what an amazing way to watch 4 decades of change right before your eyes on planet Earth. So that's an awesome, awesome feature. There's other really cool things hidden away in here. For example, if you go to the search box up here, instead of typing in a search, there's the I'm feeling lucky button. If you click that, it'll fly you somewhere random on the planet. It's not totally random. There's a large collection of locations they've added to this pool to draw from, but then you can just keep hitting the next button to go to the next random place. And so this could be really neat for a student to say, listen, you need to pick a random place. Maybe you get to look at 5 of them and choose one, and then you need to explore that. You need to find out more about that place, and it can open their eyes to other areas on the world. There's other cool things, but those are a few I would definitely give a shout out to. Now, somebody asked about landlines. This one's really quick, but it's cute. Basically, what landlines does is I draw on the screen, and it tries to find something on Earth that looks similar to what I drew. So if I draw a curve, it's going to try to find something that's like that curve. If I do an angle, maybe an angle. If I do a bit of an S, there we go. And so this could be a neat way to talk about man-made versus natural. We could see there, what kind of, now it brings up new images every time you rerun it, so you may get new stuff each time. But that's a cool one to explore that. Time-lapse also has its own standalone website. If you don't want to go into Google Earth, you can just go straight to the time-lapse website as well. It just doesn't have the 3D option, which I think is pretty cool. If you get tired of Earth, you can head to space. Google Maps for planets and moons. There's also Access Mars, where you can walk around on the surface of Mars using Street View. They took all the photos from the Curiosity rover and built a Street View experience where you can walk around on Mars, and on and on. So a lot of cool mapping tools. Let's jump into creative tools next. Probably my favorite batch. There's so many cool things in here. What I might mention, let's start with Quick Draw and Auto Draw. Let's look at those real quick. So Quick Draw is a neat one that can also teach your students about AI. If you're wanting to talk about AI with your students, this is a great one to illustrate how AI works. Basically, here's the idea. You're going to play Pictionary with an AI. So if I click Let's Draw, the computer's going to pick a thing for me to draw, but it's not going to tell the AI what it is. I'm going to then draw it, and the AI has to try to guess what I'm drawing. Now, the reason behind this is how they trained their AI to learn what a cat looks like, what a chair looks like, what a bow tie looks like. And this is the idea. The more samples you give AI, the more it can learn and model from it. So let's try out a couple here. Let's say we want to draw a school bus in 20 seconds. Okay, I'm using my mouse. I should grab my, I don't know if I have my, let me see if I can find it fast enough. I've got a stylus here. I might draw a little bit better if I'm using my stylus here. Yes, there's my stylus. I don't know, I should have just used the mouse, and that would have been my excuse for drawing poorly. But let's say I want to do a school bus here. Okay, here we go. So kind of long like this, give it some wheels
bench,
here.
Or seesaw, or bus. Oh, I know, it's school bus.
Yay, all right, I got it, and then draw a penguin, so let's see, penguin here.
I see ear, or line, or water slide, or saxophone. Oh, I know, it's penguin.
Yay, okay, now, so that's the idea, okay? Millions of people played this, and they trained the AI. Now, what's good about that? Well, that leads us to our next tool, which is Auto Draw. Let's head over to Auto Draw. Auto Draw is a drawing tool. You can use it, your kids can use it, but it has all of that AI training built into it. Now, Auto Draw you can use as a standalone tool. It also is embedded in Book Creator. So Book Creator partnered with Google to embed it in Book Creator. Now, I can just use the regular little drawing pencil just to draw normal. I can use the shape tool to create shapes. I can fill things in with color, all that kind of stuff. But let's clear that and start over. What makes this more interesting is this button, the Auto Draw button. If I click on that button, now when I draw, it's going to try to guess what I'm trying to draw. Maybe I'm artistically challenged, which you kind of saw already there. But let's say I'm trying to draw a dog. So there's his tail. We'll give him some legs, give him some more legs. We'll give him a head, an eye, a mouth. So as I'm trying to draw my dog, at the top, Google is trying to guess what I'm drawing. Is it a cat? Is it a cow? No, it's a dog. Well, if they guess, if they have an option of what it really is, I can click on their version, and it will replace my drawing with their version. I can, whoops, sorry about that. I can then grab that, and I can move that down. There we go. And now I could recolor it. I might use the fill button and color it in brown here. Let's pick a brown color for him. There we go. And then I could go back up to Auto Draw, and now I could pick another color here. Let's say we're going to go back to black, and now maybe I'm going to draw a tree next to the dog. So here's my tree. And does it guess it? It sure does. I can click on tree, and there we go. And then I can keep doing this. Now, I can combine regular drawing with Auto Draw. I can use the shapes. I can use the text box. I can use this to create my own illustrations if maybe I'm struggling a little bit with drawing. So if a student wants to illustrate their story or make sketch notes or make an infographic, it's a fantastic tool. Just come up here, click the button and click download, and there you go. You've downloaded your creation. Awesome, awesome tool. Other neat things, Toontastic. This is a mobile one, but it would work on like iPads or even a Chromebook. Chromebooks can run Android apps. It allows students to create 3D animated digital puppet shows to tell stories. Meme Buddy allows you to create a meme by putting in the content of the meme. It then finds a picture and it adds the image to it and it will create a meme for you. Chrome Canvas, a very simple whiteboarding tool, but sometimes that's all you need. Basically, it gives you a pencil, a marker, crayon, and chalk, I think. And basically, you can just draw on Chrome Canvas. If you needed to, do a quick diagram, work out a math problem. You can also upload images and annotate on the images as well. Very simple, but works great. Other creative tools, verse by verse. This is for writing poetry. Maybe students are struggling writing a poem. Well, what they do is they pick 3 famous American poets out of like 20-some, and then the student writes the first line of the poem. After they do that, the poets they chose through AI give you the second line of the poem. What would Walt Whitman have written, for example? And so you can use their line if you want, or you can just be inspired by it and then modify that in verse by verse, line by line. With the help of AI poets, you can write a poem. Other cool ones, there are just so many. We could go into all of these. These are so many neat ones. Scribbly's a digital animation one. Monster Mash is a 3D modeling one. So many cool ones. Let's pause on this one for a moment. Text effects. Google has 3 different FX tools: text effects, image effects, and music effects. Text effects is for writing. And basically, it's to help you if you get stuck. You're like, I'm trying to write and I've got writer's block. I'm having a hard time thinking. It has all of these AI-generated tools that can give you inspiration. So basically what you do, come down here and launch it, and then you pick the tool you want to use. So it could be something like simile. You put in a topic and it generates similes. Or it could be something like fuse. You give it 2 topics and it finds an intersection. How are those 2 things related? Or alliteration. Give it a topic and a letter, it finds words that fit that topic in that letter. You get the idea. So let's say we do simile, and maybe we're using artificial intelligence as our topic, and we say, let's run that. It's now going to come up with similes about artificial intelligence. And so we're getting a list, and maybe one of those is going to be something that is the trigger we need to get us started. So it's meant to be a writer's toolkit for inspiration. That's Tool FX. I think right after that is image effects. This one basically allows you to create images from text and then play around with them, basically. So if I'll just click on I'm feeling lucky. Here we go. It randomly chose a psychedelic high-quality art of a human meditating in the woods. And so it's going to create, now of course, I could have typed in whatever prompt I wanted. I just clicked I'm feeling lucky, and it randomly chose that one. But basically, it is now creating these images over here. And I could go in and take any one of those images. I could download and keep those, or I can change it. I could say I don't want high quality, I want low or average. I don't want art, I want a painting or a sculpture. I don't want somebody meditating, I want them sleeping, running, or dancing, and I don't want them in the woods, I want them in the mountains, the beach, or the city. So I could say, let's make it mountains, let's make it, a sculpture, and let's have them sleeping. Sure, I have no idea what that's going to look like. But the point is, it's showing how you can play with a prompt and affect the output, what comes out from that. So this is a neat one for helping to explore AI image generation, but also the effects the prompt has on that. I am curious what it's going to generate here. If it doesn't do it quick enough, we'll just come back to it. It's still thinking, that's okay. We'll swing back around and see what it ends up. Oh, no, there it is. It did. Oh, very nice. Lovely. Good stuff. Nice job there, buddy. All right. Let's keep going. So next up is a big category of music. Hipster Google tools, lesser known music tools. Music Lab, probably one of the best known. Music Lab is a collection of 14 different experiments. You can learn all kinds of things like exploring rhythm or harmonics or chords. You can just do the song maker. Just come in here and say, hey, I want to write a song. Absolutely. Just start clicking on here. Maybe throw in a little percussion and play that. Awesome, very good. And of course you can, make it way more complicated than that, change up the instruments, save what you've created, and more. Besides Music Lab, there's things like Music FX. That's the FX version of the image effects and the text effects. This one, you describe the kind of music you want, and it will then generate a song based on that. So if we pop out here, again, we'll just do the I'm Feeling Lucky. Oh my gosh, it is all about psychedelic today. We are back with psychedelic music, slow and buttery. Okay, I'm not sure why. But again, I could have just typed in whatever I wanted. But there we go. Nice. Excellent. And so we can download that, or we can switch into DJ mode. And in DJ mode, it can play, and we can adjust sliders. In DJ mode, it'll play for up to like an hour. And you can keep adjusting the sliders and changing the music the entire time. So that's music effects. There's loads of other music tools, things like Groove Pizza that lets you explore rhythms. Things like AI Duet and Assisted Melody where you play a tune, then the AI plays along with you. Things like Semiconductor, where you use your webcam to move your arms and conduct a virtual orchestra. There's Blob Opera, where you drag the blobs up and down to change their pitch, forward and backwards to change their vowel sound, and it's all about 4-part harmony. You drag one of them, the rest of them harmonize with you there. We'll look at it just because I heard a couple laughs there. Maybe a few of you want to actually see that happening, so we will skip, see if we can skip. Will it let us skip? Can we skip? Can we skip? I just want to get to, here we go, skip tutorial. There we go, skip tutorial. So now I can grab this guy here. Nice. All right. Very good. There's all kinds of other ones. Blob Beats, Viola the Bird, Instrument Playground, Tone Transformer. Paint with Music's a cool one. This combines art and music. You draw on the screen. The higher you draw, the higher the note. The lower you draw, the lower the note. And then you can keep adding more layers. And it basically is looping then, adding instrument on top of instrument. So you're making art and you're making music at the same time. How about communication tools? Bunch of cool ones here. Of course, Google Translate, the mobile app is a fantastic communication tool. How about something like Data GIF Maker? This is not probably as well known. This is a cool tool from Google where you can make animated graphs. So if you want to make, a graph and you don't want to use a bar graph or a pie chart, you want something with some pizzazz, head over to Data GIF Maker, put in all of your data, and then pick an animation. This is the racetrack animation, but they've got several there. It will then generate an animated GIF that illustrates your data, which you can download and use any way you want. Another cool one, there are so many here. Somebody asked about this earlier today, Interview Warm-Up. This is a communication tool to help you practice communicating. So basically what it is a pretend interview. You go there and you pick a job you want to interview for, or just choose general. The AI then starts asking you interview questions, and you answer them. You speak the answer. It records your voice, transcribes everything you say, and then it gives you feedback. How can you improve your answers? Are you using too many ums and uhs? Do you use the same word too many times? And basically, you can practice public speaking and conversation and interviewing skills. What a wonderful tool. Awesome, awesome tool there. Next up, games. So many fun games that Google has created over the years. Semantris is one I just shared out in my email newsletter. For those that subscribe to that, you saw that today. This is a Tetris-style game, but it's a vocabulary game. So basically, if I come here, what it's going to do is give me a bunch of words, and I want to get rid of the words because new words are going to fall, and I never want them to reach the top line. But how do I get rid of the words? Well, I'm going to type in this box down here. But I'm not allowed to type any of the actual words. I have to type synonyms or similar words. So this is about building vocabulary. So if I wanted to get rid of something like refrigerator, I might type in icebox. Maybe it knows that an icebox is a refrigerator. Yes, it does. That's an old term for it. And notice it got rid of all of the reds touching it. So you got to pick some that will also get rid of nearby similar colors. And then new words fall down. So I might want to get rid of school. So I'd have to think, what would be something that's not school, but is similar to school? So maybe I put in college. I hope it's going to understand that that's school. It did. Awesome. And now I get rid of those and more words fall. As it goes, the words get more similar, and so you have to be more specific in what you put in. So love that. Such a neat game. There's loads of other games. Puzzle Party and visual crosswords and cultural crosswords. These are all from Google Arts and Culture, where you can play games with famous works of art, like making a digital jigsaw puzzle out of them and so forth. Game Snacks is just a website with about 100 casual games. If you just want a reasonably fun, safe, easy site to let kids play around on. These are all school-friendly games that will run on any kind of a device. That's Game Snacks. But they do have some that are more educational. Return of the Cat, Mummy, Descent of the Serpent. You can play a game while learning about Egyptian life or Mesoamerican cultures. And that brings us to the final category, which is miscellaneous. So I'm going to pause for a second before I launch into miscellaneous. Let me see if anything else has popped up. Are there any requests? Are there any questions? With auto draw, does it have to be a single line drawing? It does need to be, yes, one thing you've drawn as opposed to multiple separate things. Although I don't think it has to be contiguous. You can draw on top of what you have drawn, but I do believe it is looking for a single object, if that's what you were asking. Any of the music for music theory? I mean, Chrome Music Lab does a lot of music theory in it. It's very simple for younger students, but it hits harmonics, it hits arpeggios, it covers a lot of interesting things in that. Image effects, a hipster conference presenter teaching about Google. That's fantastic. Now I am kind of curious about that. We might have to go back. Oh no, there it is. Well, I resemble that comment. All right. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, let's launch into miscellaneous. Home stretch. Here we're going to find things like Google Arts and Culture. This is such an amazing website. We could spend the entire hour on nothing but arts and culture. Please do check it out if you haven't. It is art, but it's not just art. It's also history. It is culture. It can tie into so many other topics. If you come up here to the top menu, you can choose things like maybe you do want to learn about a historical event. Sure, we could go to World War I, Vietnam, Civil War, whatever the case might be. Choose a topic like World War I, and now there's 5,746 primary source documents scanned in at high quality that we can explore. If you do want to do art, no worries. Go to art, maybe pick Van Gogh, maybe pick, Starry Night, learn about Starry Night, but then zoom in on it. Take a closer look, because here's the thing, folks. You'll never be able to get as close in person as we can zoom in here. They have scanned these in at such high resolutions we can see the cracks in the paint and we can see the canvas showing through in the background. Arts and culture, phenomenal site. Other cool ones, oh, so many neat ones. Odd one out, this is good to teach about, can you identify what is AI or not? It'll show you 4 images. One of them is AI generated. The other 3 are from arts and culture. Can you pick the one that's the AI generated image? And so this is really neat to talk to students about how easy is it to identify what's AI and what's not. There's also say what you see. This is a cool one with images. You're given a picture and then you have to write a prompt to try to make an image that looks like the original, and it judges you on how close your prompt gets to the original image. So it's working on improving your image prompting. On and on and on, so many great ones. Notable women. This is one that features 100 historic women that should be on notes, like on bills, on money. And so it'll show you like a picture of them on, you know, a dollar bill, and then you can learn all about those women. Other great ones, my gosh, we could investigate any of these. Read along. Love, love, love this. This is for younger readers. Basically, you pick a book, the student can pick a book, whatever the case, pick a story, and as they read it, the AI listens to them and it tracks their fluency, their speed, their accuracy. If they get stuck, it helps them sound out words. And over time, it can track as they improve in their fluency. Completely free tool, also integrates in Google Classroom to track students as well there. And on and on and on. We could look at so many cool ones. If you've got an old Windows device or a Mac sitting around that doesn't work well anymore, Chrome OS Flex is a totally free tool from Google. It'll let you wipe it clean and turn it into a Chromebook. It'll install the Chrome operating system and breathe new life back into an old device that otherwise would not be very usable. And then last thing, because we're down to the last minute, Mindful Break. This is a Chrome extension that can help you pause and relax every now and then, like at the end of a Hipster Google session when your mind is overwhelmed. If you install this extension, you get a little icon up here that you click. When you click it, it will give you a little thought. In this case, ask yourself what you're grateful for today. That's very nice. Or click it again. When you sit in your chair today, cinch your feet and hands, allow your spine to lengthen. Something to let you center and calm down. You can also click try a breathing exercise, and it will do a 1-minute breathing exercise. Perfect for in between those class periods when you need to recenter yourself. Now, folks, all of those things, I thank you for going on that ride with me. All of those things can be found at bit.ly/Curts-Hipster. Even the ones we didn't get to, please continue to share with me ideas. If there's ones you think I've missed that should get added in, and check back in that document frequently. Don't forget, at the very top of that document, you'll find all of my contact info, a link to my other USET sessions. Please do join me for those. I'm heading off right now to the AI Toolbox, which I'll be doing here at 3:30, and join us tonight for the board games. And other than that, thank you so much. It's been wonderful learning with you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.